गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Dear friends, in the last class we were seeing the third shloka of the 14th adhyaya. We completed the first two shlokas in the last class, that is the introduction to what is the subject matter of this chapter, that is Gunatraya. And Lord Krishna extolled this particular jnana, saying that by knowing this jnana you will go beyond this prakriti. Prakriti means that Trigunatmika prakriti. Then this third shloka straight away got into the subject. That is, this third shloka is about Mamayonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham Sambhavas Sarvabhutanam Tato Bhavati Bharata. I read this shloka and I explained that the meaning also. And we had just started the Bhashyam. And we had read the first line of the Bhashyam. We can just repeat. Mama Swabhuta Madiya Maya Trigunatmika Prakrutihi Yonihi Sarvabhutanam Sarvakaryebhyo. That line we read. So let us repeat. Mama Swabhuta Madiya Maya Trigunatmika Prakrutihi Yonihi Sarvabhutanam Sarvakaryebhyo Mahatvat Bharanacha.
सर्वभूतानां सर्वकार्येभ्यो बृहत्वात् भरणात्.
Okay, Mahatvat Bharanacha. Your book says Bruhatvat.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
बृहत्वात्
Bharanacha. Svavikarāṇāṁ Mahad Brahmeti.
स्वविकाराणां महद् ब्रह्म इति
Yonireva Vishishyate.
योनिरेव विशिष्यते.
So we just read this line in the last class. So this first line of this shloka, Mama Yonihi Mahad Brahma. Mama Yonihi. Mama. And this, whenever Lord Krishna says Mama, sometimes it refers to Ishvara, that is Maya Vachinam Chaitanyam, sometimes it refers to the Supreme Brahman. So here it refers to that Supreme Brahman, that Sat Chid Ananda Swarupa. So that Sat Chid Ananda Swarupa, it has to manifest into this whole universe. So there should be some way, some entry point. So that entry point, what is that entry point? Mahat Brahma. Mahat Brahma is, it refers to Prakriti. I told in the last class, this Mahat Brahma refers to Prakriti. That is this Yoni. Yoni means that is the entry point. I am saying this word entry point because exactly the same word is used by Nilakantha in his Vyakhya. Mama Shuddha Janmatrasya Yonihi Pravesha Sthanam. So this chit or this intelligence or consciousness has to in some manner, it has to manifest into matter. That consciousness has to manifest into matter in some form. So what is that entry point? The entry point, we are visualizing, we are postulating one entity called Maya. And what is the nature of that Maya? Maya is again not something which is cognizable. Of course, what all has come into existence is something, it is Indriya Gocharam. It is known by the Indriyas. But Maya is something which is Ati Indriyam, not Indriya Gocharam. But then that is the point, that is the entry point. Yonihi. Yoni means two things. That is the entry point and also the exit point. That is from where all things are born. So that is also there. So in that sense, the next shloka is using that word Yoni in that sense. So Mama Yonihi, that is the Pravesha Sthanam, the way in which I manifest into this universe is through this Prakriti. So through this Prakriti, so that Prakriti in a metaphorical way, it becomes this Yoni. The word Yoni is used after all in a metaphorical way. So it becomes the way, that is the sort of interface between the consciousness and matter, the visible matter. Then Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham. Okay, Mama Trigunatmika Madiya Maya Trigunatmika Prakrutihi Yonihi. Trigunatmika means the very essence of that Prakriti is Triguna. Trigunatmika, the very essence. And in the last class I was also telling that this Guna is not something which is something like a red pencil or red pen. It is not an adjective. It is not an adjective or it is not a property. but it is something which is a constituent itself. That is the very self. That is the very self of that say Prakriti. So that is what we were discussing in the last class. So Trigunatmika Prakriti Yonihi, then Sarvabhutanam. Yonihi Sarvabhutanam. For all the beings, this is the here it is used as Trigunatmika Prakriti Yonihi Sarvabhutanam Sarvakaryebhyah Mahatvat Bharanacha. Sarvakaryebhyah Bruhatvat. Your book says Bruhatvat. It doesn't matter. So Bruhatvat means because it is big. Mahatvat means it is big. It is also big. Mahan and Bruhat, both are one. Mahat and Bruhat, almost similar meanings. So Sarvakaryebhyah, with respect to all karyas, when compared to all the derivatives, that is from that Hiranyagarbha Brahma, various other things have come. So compared to all these things, that is the mightiest thing, that is the greatest thing, that is the biggest thing. So that is why it is called Mahatvat Bharanacha, because it holds, it sustains all other things. Bharanam we know. Bharanam is to bear, to sustain, to support. That becomes the substratum rather. So that is the substratum for all these vikaras. Then Svavikaranam Mahat Brahmeti, Svavikaranam Bharanacha Svavikaranam. So Svavikaranam Bharanacha, because it is the thing which is upholding, which is supporting all its derivatives, all its vikaras. Then Mahat Brahma iti Yonireva Vishishyate. This Yoni or this particular Prakriti is Vishishyate, means it is distinguished. Vishishyate means it is distinguished as Mahat Brahma. It is that supreme thing, the Mahat Brahma, that is the mighty Brahma or Prakriti, that is being distinguished in that manner. Then Tasmin Mahati Brahmani Yonau Garbham Hiranyagarbhasya Janmanaha Bijam Sarvabhuta Janmakaranam Bijam Dadhami Nikshipami. So Tasmin Mahati Brahmani Yonau. So that Mahat Brahma is the Yoni. That is the entry point for that consciousness to manifest as matter, isn't it? So in that, so this is all metaphorical way of saying. It is not as though there is some Prakriti sitting there and then there is some Purusha sitting there and then this man is putting his seed there. It is not like that. It is all a metaphorical way of saying. So Tasmin Mahati Brahmani, in that say Mahat Brahma, which is called Prakriti, that which is itself, which is otherwise called Yoni, which is the Pravesha Sthanam, which is the entry point. Garbham Dadhami, that is, I am putting my seed. I am putting the seed. What is that seed? Garbham for what? Seed for what? Hiranyagarbhasya Janmanaha, seed. That is for the origin of that cosmic mind. I am putting the seed for the origin of that cosmic mind in that Maya. In that Maya, which is my Yoni, which is my entry point, I am putting the seed for the origin of that Hiranyagarbha Brahma, which is otherwise called the cosmic mind. Is it clear?
Yes.
So in fact, you see that Maya is the first manifestation, and in that Maya, that consciousness which assumes that notion of I, that is called Hiranyagarbha, isn't it? So that I, that is Hiranyagarbhasya Janmanaha Bijam. So the seed for the origin of that Hiranyagarbha, I am putting it there, Dadhami, Nikshipami. So this all that I doing and all these things, it is something which is told in a metaphorical way. Bijam Sarvabhuta Janmakaranam Bijam. So this is the seed. Again, once Hiranyagarbha is born, from that Hiranyagarbha all other things are derived. So which means that is the bija not only for Hiranyagarbha, it is the bijam for all other beings also. It is the bija because in a serial order all these things are coming out. It is in that fashion, it is a sort of bijam. It is the seed for the origin of all beings. Dadhami Nikshipami. Then Kshetra Kshetrajna Prakrutidvaya Shaktiman Ishvaraha Aham Avidya Kamakarmopadhi Swarupa Anuvidhayinam Kshetrajnam Kshetrena Sanyojayami Ityarthaha. Let us break these words. So Aham, I. Who is it I? Kshetra Kshetrajna Prakrutidvaya Shaktiman Ishvaraha Aham. I am that Ishvara. And what is that Ishvara? Prakrutidvaya Shaktiman. one who is having the Shakti, one who is having the Shakti of this Prakriti Dvaya. There are two types of Prakritis, that is Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. That Para Prakriti is Kshetrajna, Apara Prakriti is Kshetra. So this Prakriti Dvaya Shaktiman. So both these things are manifest in me, they are in me only. So one is the essential nature, that consciousness or Kshetrajna is its essential nature, and in that the manifesting power called Kshetra, manifesting power is coming out in the form of a Kshetra, isn't it? So these two things are in me. So I am that Shaktiman, I have that Shakti, I am that powerful. So that is the meaning. So Shaktiman Ishvaraha Aham. So when it refers to Aham, so this is the meaning of Aham. So Aham is Ishvaraha, that is number one is Ishvara, that is the Supreme Being. And what is that Supreme Being? Prakriti Dvaya Shaktiman, this Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, they are with me. And Apara Prakriti is responsible for Kshetra and Para Prakriti is responsible for Kshetrajna. So that thing, then Avidya Karmopadhi Swarupa Anuvidhayinam Kshetrajnam. So you see, this Kshetrajna, by nature, what is Kshetrajna? By nature, Kshetrajna is the same as Brahma, the supreme thing. Kshetrajna is, the essence of Kshetrajna is consciousness, intelligence, Chit. And that is the same as that Sachidananda. But then, this fellow is getting caught in this Avidya, Kama, Karma, Upadhi, Swarupa. So this man is following Anuvidhayinam. Anuvidhayinam means it is just getting identified with that Anuvidhayi. Anuvidhayi means he runs after it. Anuvidhayi, that is he moves after it. He anuvidhatum shilamasya. Anuvidhayi means anuvidhatum shilamasya. That is to be subservient to that, to identify himself with that, to say follow that. So to follow the rules of this body-mind complex. So that is what is anuvidhayi. So what is he doing? Avidya, Kama, Karma, Upadhi. So this Upadhi, which is due to this Avidya, and Avidya leading to Kama, and Kama means desire, and desire leading to Karma. Avidya is, that is the feeling of deficiency, feeling of inadequacy, feeling of limitedness in oneself. So that is leading to Kama, desire. Because I feel myself as a parichanna, I feel myself as a limited person, I want something. And because I want something, I engage in some karma. And because I want to engage in some karma, my so-called the subtle body, that say this Sukshma Sharira, it takes up a body. Sukshma Sharira takes up a gross body. So this Upadhi, so Avidya, Kama, Karma, Upadhi, Swarupa, Anuvidhayinam. So this fellow is following that Upadhi Swarupa. So it may be the say the body-mind complex of a tiger, it may be the body-mind complex of a human being, it may be the body-mind complex of a devil, whatever it is. Deva, Asura, Tiryak, Jantu, there are so many varieties, isn't it? So this person is affected by this avidya, and is the sentence clear or not? Huh?
Very clear.
It's very clear. Okay, because from your looks I was not very clear whether you okay. Avidya, Kama, Karma, Upadhi, Swarupa, Anuvidhayi. Anuvidhayi means one who is subservient to that, one who is following that. Then such Kshetrajna, so I am say combining him, I am joining him, I am marrying him with that Kshetra. Kshetrajna Samyojayami. I am say combining or I am joining him with that Kshetra. Samyojayati. Samyojanam means to join two things together. Yojanam, Sanyojanam is joining two things together. So Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Sanyogat, we saw that line. So all this is referring to that line. Whatever is born, it is because of the Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Sanyoga. And Samyoga is that, what type of Samyoga? Adhyasika Samyoga. That is the nature of Adhyasa. That is a false superimposition. So this is Kshetrajnam. Kshetrajna who intrinsically he is nothing other than Brahman. So but then this man, because he identifies himself with this body-mind complex, so that becomes this Sanyojanam. Kshetrena saha Samyojayami ityarthaha. So that is the meaning is Bijam Dadhami. Of all this thing is explanation for this Bijam Dadhami. Tasmin Garbham Dadhami. I am putting the seed. In what manner? So in this manner. This is this body, this Jiva or Kshetrajna, he is identifying himself with this body-mind complex. So that is the way in which the Lord has put the seed. So that is the meaning. So Sambhavaha Utpattihi
Sambhavah Utpattihi
Sarvabhutanam
Sarvabhutanam
Hiranyagarbhotpatti Dvarena
Hiranyagarbhotpatti Dvarena
Tataha Tasmad Garbhadhanad
Tataha Tasmat Garbhadhanat
Bhavati He Bharata.
Bhavati He Bharata.
So here Sambhavaha Sarvabhutanam, that is the next line. Sarvabhutanam Sambhavaha. Sambhavaha means Utpatti, the origin of all the beings. Sarvabhutanam. Then what is the channel? The channel is Hiranyagarbha Dvarena. Hiranyagarbhotpatti Dvarena. Dwaram means a channel, a door. Dwara means actually Dwaram means door. Hiranyagarbhotpatti Dvarena means through that channel. So there is one thing called Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic mind, and that cosmic mind, through that Tataha Tasmat Garbhadhanat. So because of that Garbha Adhanam, we know this word Garbhadhanam. It is one of the ceremonies also, Garbhadhanam. Garbhadhana means Garbha, putting the seed in a place, that is called Garbha Adhanam. After a marriage, when the wife and when the man and woman get married, this ceremony called Garbha Adhanam is there. That Garbha Adhanam is the man putting the seed in the woman. That is Garbha Adhanam. Some people, many people pronounce it as Garbhadhanam. There is no dhanam there. There is no question of dhanam. There is no donation there. Garbha Adhanam. So that is it. So Garbhadhanat Tataha Tasmad Garbha Adhanat Bhavati He Bharata. Oh Bharata. Through that channel of Hiranyagarbha, because Hiranyagarbha we know, Hiranyagarbha Prathamaha Jivaha, that also we know. Hiranyagarbha is the first being. Whereas being means something which has come into existence. And Hiranyagarbha also is a Jiva. So like us, there is something, he is also having all these pancha, bhutas and things like that. So that is why all deva, whenever you do worship, we also do pranaya swaha, panaya swaha, vyanaya swaha, etc. Why? And also we do whenever you invoke God or goddess, you do this prana pratishtha. Suppose you construct a temple. So when you construct a temple, then there is what is called a prana pratishtha. There are so many ceremonies for that idol. That idol has to stay in water for some time. The idol has to stay in dhanya for some time. It has to stay in some other thing for some other time. So there is a lot of procedure for that. And after that there is what is called prana pratishtha. So all these things. Even in the house also, when you do puja, there are mantras invoking that God and then invoking prana into that. Asunite punarasma suchachshu. So that mantra is there. So all these mantras are there to invoke this prana. So this is the first prani, Hiranyagarbha, and then all the God forms which are visualized in this Hiranyagarbha. So that is why we visualize the gods also as people who accept all these things, and then that is why we do some Naivedyam, Dhupa, Deepa, Naivedya, Avahanam, Asanam, Padyam, Arghyam, Achamanam, all these things we do. Just as we do to some VIP who comes to our house. So that is the point. So Hiranyagarbhotpatti Dvarena Tataha Tasmad Garbhadhanat Bhavati. Then next shloka Sarva Yonishu Iti. Okay, let us read the shloka. Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya
Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya
Murtayas Sambhavantiyaha
Murtayas Sambhavantiyaha
Tasam Brahma Mahadyonihi
Tasam Brahma Mahadyonihi
Aham Bijapradah Pita.
Aham Bijapradah Pita.
So these are these shlokas, these verses, they look very, very simple, but very difficult to understand, very difficult to follow the bhashyam. The bhashyam is very simple, bhashyam also looks simple, shloka also looks simple, because this is telling about the entire theory of causation, how this world has come into existence, how the universe has come into existence. The basic point is that connection between matter and mind, or rather mind and matter, the connection between how consciousness has taken the shape of matter, how consciousness has taken the shape of this universe. So this is the basic question. So even if you go to modern physics also, and also all modern, not only physics, say the biology and all the biological sciences and physics put together, they are trying to solve this, they are trying to know this thing only. They are trying to know whether it is the matter which is first or whether it is the mind first. Mind means consciousness. So anyway, Vedanta says that it is the consciousness which is first, and from that consciousness, through something called, some interface called Maya, this thing, whole thing is happening. So that is what Vedanta says. So that is why Maya, what is the Maya? Maya is something what we call anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniyam is something which is indefinable. Sadasadbhyam anirvachaniyam. This avidya or Maya or Prakriti is something which is sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. You cannot say whether it exists, you cannot say whether it does not exist at all. So that is the way, that is the level at which these shlokas are talking. And the modern philosophy, if you see, they also use certain big words, epistemology, ontology, etc., etc. So here, what is the ontological status of this Prakriti? What is the ontological status of this Jiva? So these are the big questions which are discussed here in slightly different terms. If you want to translate these things into modern terms, this is something which is discussing the ontological status of this Prakriti, ontological status of these gunas. So that is the point here. So let us see this shloka. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtayah sambhavanti yaha. Sarva yonishu. Yoni means utpatti sthanam. In the earlier shloka, we saw this yoni as pravesha sthanam. That is the entry point for that, this entry point is a good word which suddenly it struck to me. So this sarva yonishu utpatti. This is the utpatti sthanam. That is from where things are emerging out. So there is a garbhadhanam done. After the garbhadhanam, things emerge. So children emerge, isn't it? So it is all a metaphorical way of saying. There is no such thing as some supreme Brahma sitting there and then putting his seed something. This is all metaphorical. So that is why poets have translated this philosophy into mythology. You see, philosophy gets transformed or metamorphosed into mythology. Philosophy is, there is that supreme Brahma, which is nothing other than consciousness. There is this universe which is matter. Then there is an interface which is called Maya. And then that Maya is something which is that is the entry point for that Brahman. So that is what is the philosophy. So you translate it into, say for example, Vishnu and Lakshmi. Vishnu is something, and Vishnu represents that supreme, consciousness. And then Lakshmi or Maya, she becomes the, Jagan Mata, let us say. So similarly, Shiva and Shakti symbolism, Vishnu and Lakshmi symbolism, these are all symbolisms which refer to this thing only, philosophy. After all, this Vishnu is, when you say that Shiva is having a wife or Vishnu is having a wife, it is not as though they are husband and wife like us quarreling every day. It's not like that. This is basically a philosophical idea which is transformed into a mythological story. And I have also referred earlier to this symbolism of Lalita. Lalita, the goddess who sits on Shiva. And if you know what is the Saundarya Lahari, have you read a book called Saundarya Lahari? You please read it. Saundarya Lahari, you please read that book. There is a very good word-by-word translation into Telugu and also a commentary by one gentleman. It is available in the bookstores. Saundarya Lahari. There, the same thing is described. Shivakare manche parama shiva paryanka nilaye. Shivakare manche. Mancha means what we call mancham or a cot. Shivakare manche. Shiva becomes the bed. Shiva becomes the substratum. That is, consciousness is the substratum. And then on that substratum, this Shakti, this manifesting power is sitting. Shivakare manche Paramashiva Paryanka Nilayam. That is one who is staying or one who is taking support, one who is in that Paryanka. Paryanka means Shiva itself becomes the Paryanka. There this Shakti is existing. Then Shivakare manche Paramashiva Paryanka Nilayam Bhajanti Tvam Dhanyah Katichana Chidanandalaharim. So there is a shloka like that. So Shankaracharya goes into raptures to describe these things in a mythological manner. So in fact, it is a very wonderful poetry. There is wonderful poetry has been written by Shankaracharya in that Saundarya Lahari. There is another text called Shivananda Lahari, which comes into the same category. So we have to read those books also. So this is why I am saying philosophy is can come converted into or transformed into mythology. So here, that is why these are all very difficult concepts to understand and digest. So Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya, He Kaunteya, O Arjuna, Sarva Yonishu, Yoni again is Utpatti Sthanam. You can note down there, the earlier one is Pravesha Sthanam, this is Utpatti Sthanam. Then Murtayah, Yaha Murtayah Sambhavanti. Whatever Murti, whatever form, Murti means form. Whatever Murtayaha Sambhavanti means they come into existence. Whatever Murtis or whatever forms come into existence in all these say yonis. That is, Prakriti becomes the yoni for Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha becomes the yoni for his derivatives. From that Hiranyagarbha, this Panchatanmatra, etc., all these they come. So for Panchatanmatra, that Hiranyagarbha becomes the yoni, and Panchatanmatras become the yoni for other things. Mahat, Ahankara, etc., for all these things, Panchatanmatras becomes the yoni. So Prakriti Vikrutayaha, that word also we have seen. So Murtaya Sambhavantiyaha, Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonihi. Tasam, among all of them, Tasam. Because it is yoni is Strilinga, Tasam, that is why among them. If it is Pumlinga, you have to say Tesham. So here it is Tasam, then Brahma Mahad Yonihi. Here, this Mahad word is not connected to Yoni. It is not Mahad Yoni. Brahma Mahad. Mahad Brahma is put in a reverse order here. You see, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma. That Mahad Brahma is seen in a reverse order here. Brahma Mahad is the same as Mahad Brahma. So, Tasam Mahad Brahma Yonihi. That is the supreme Yoni. That is the highest yoni, that is the Matrusthaniya, says one commentator. Matrusthaniya is the word used by Madhusudana Saraswati. Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonihi, Aham Bijapradah Pita. I am the father. I am the father means the one who puts the seed into that. And then that Brahma, that Mahad Brahma, which is Prakriti, that is the yoni. That is the first yoni. That is the first yoni from which all other things have derived. So this is the meaning of this shloka. Let us read the bhashyam. Sarva yonishu iti.
Sarva yonishu iti.
Deva pitru manushya pashu mrugadi sarva yonishu.
Deva pitru manushya pashu mrugadi sarva yonishu.
Kaunteya. Murtayaha deha samsthana lakshanaha.
Murtayaha deha samsthana lakshanaha.
Murchitangavayaha murtayaha. Murchitangavayava murtayaha. Sambhavantiyaha. Tasam murtinam. Brahma Mahat Sarvavastham Yonihi Yonihi Karanam Aham Ishaha Bijapradaha Garbhadhanasya Karta Pita. Okay, so for all these beings which are coming into existence, what are all the beings which are coming into existence? Deva, the divine. There are so many categories of beings which are coming into existence. That is Deva, the divine, the Pitaras, this what are called in English. There is a word used, manes, manes. I don't know whether it is how it is pronounced. That word manes is used, manes, Pitru. Then Manushya, this Manushya Loka, because Pitru Loka is something, that is supposed to be the Loka where the people who die here, they go and then they wait for some time. That is for the Pitru Loka. So these people who are here in this world, they are supposed to do all the proper rituals and then ensure that they reach higher lokas. They go to heaven. So that is why we perform these Shraddhas and all these things. We invoke those Pitru Devatas, we perform this Shraddha. And then after the third generation is over, then that man is supposed to get liberated and then he will go to that Brahmaloka. So that is our belief. So there are various levels. So that is why Devaloka, there is a Pitruloka, there is what is called Manushya Loka, there is a Pashum, Mrugadi, Sarva Yonishu. Pashum, Mruga, all these things are there. So in all these things, Kaunteya, He Kaunteya, Murtayaha, Murti means a body, something which has taken a shape. Murtayah Deha Samsthana Lakshana. Deha Samsthana. Samsthana means a structure, an assembly, a structure. Deha Samsthana Lakshana. Samsthana is a structure. Deha Samsthana Lakshana. That those which are characterized by having a structure. A human body, for example, there is a structure. There is a head, there are hands, there are legs, etc. etc. You take any body of any being, there is a structure. Deha Samsthana Lakshana. Then Murchita Anga Avayavaha Murtayaha. Murchita. Murchita means well developed, well formed. Nothing to do with our Murcha. Murcha, that unconsciousness, not that. Murchita is Pravruddhaha. Pravruddhaha means well developed, well formed. So that is the Murchita. Murchita Anga, that is well developed limbs. Anga means limb. Avayavaha, all these limbs and all the Anga and Avayava are one and the same. Anga, Avayavaha. Avayava means parts of the body, various parts of the body which are the limbs. Such Murtayaha Sambhavanti Yaha, those which arise or those which say come into being in that manner. Tasam Murtinam, among all those Murtis, Brahma Mahat, that is this Mahat Brahma, this Prakriti is the Yonihi Karanam. This thing is the Karanam, this is the original cause for all these derivatives. This is the Prakriti is the original cause for all these derivatives. Sarva Avastham. Sarva Avastham means existing everywhere. Sarva Avastham. That is Sarva Avastha. Avastha means existing. Sarva Avastham, that which is existing everywhere. Brahma Mahat, Sarva Avastham, that Prakriti which is existing, that is the whole universe. It is there. The whole universe is Prakriti, isn't it? Prakriti, Yonihi Karanam. Then Aham Ishaha, I the Supreme Being. Ishaha, the Supreme Being. Bija Pradaha, one who gives the Bija, one who plants the seed there. Bija Pradaha. Aham Bija Pradah Pita. Yeah, Bija Pradaha is there in that shloka also. Bija Pradaha. Garbhadhanasya Karta. I am the Karta. I am the person who puts the seed there. So that is it. So it does not refer to a personal God. That is what we have to repeatedly remember. We are not talking about a personal God sitting somewhere and then there is a wife called Prakriti and then he is not like that. It is all metaphorically told as father and mother. So that is why taking these words in a literal way, like the Puranas, they Parvati Parameshwarau, Jagatah Pitarau Vande, Parvati Parameshwarau, Parvati Parameshwara, they are said to be the parents for the whole universe. So in that manner. Okay. Then Ke Gunaha Katham Nibadhananti Ityuchyate. So Ke Gunaha, what are those Gunaha? Katham Nibadhananti, how do they bind? Iti Uchyate. Then this is again a very difficult shloka. Difficult in the sense, the basic point is what exactly is this Prakriti? What exactly is this Maya? If that is known, then everything is known. That is something which cannot be known, says Vedanta. It is something which cannot be known because you are a product of that. It cannot be known, you can only get over that. You can get over that by knowing your real self. You can get over that by knowing your real self. But if you want to be as a jiva, identifying with the body-mind complex, and then if you want to know that, you cannot know. If you get over that, then you will know what is Maya. If you get over that, then you will know what is Maya. But so long as you are a jiva identifying with the body-mind complex, and if you want to objectify and then if you want to intellectually know it, it cannot be known. So that is it. Then, let us read. Sattvam Rajastavaiti.
Sattvam Rajastavaiti.
Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha.
Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha.
Nibadhananti Mahabaho.
Nibadhanti Mahabaho.
Dehe Dehinam Avyayam.
Dehe Dehinam Avyayam.
So there are three gunas which are mentioned here. Sattvam, Rajaha, Tama, Rajaha, Rajas, Tama, iti gunaha. So gunaha, there are three gunaha. What are they? Sattvam is one, Rajas, Tamas. So these three are the gunas. Then Prakriti Sambhavaha. This is again a slightly sensitive word. Prakriti Sambhavaha. The literally what does it mean? They are born of Prakriti, isn't it? Prakriti Sambhavaha. But then earlier we saw that Prakriti is Trigunatmika. The very self of Prakriti is these three gunas. The very self of Prakriti is these three gunas. When we say that the very self of Prakriti is these three gunas, we should not imagine something like a mixture. You go to some Indian hotel and then you, some South Indian hotel or even North Indian hotel. North Indian hotel also they do have that mixture, chat mixture. So there are 3-4 types which are given, and then that becomes the chat masala, isn't it? So this Prakriti is not like the chat masala where the Sattva guna is there, Rajo guna is there, Tamo guna is there, and all these three are there in 33.333 proportion. It's not like that. So this is the basic point which we have to see. So the Katham, this Prakriti Sambhavaha, this Prakriti is something which is having certain tendencies. Guna is variously translated by different people. For example, some people have translated it as mode, M-O-D-E-S, modes. Some people have translated it as tendencies. So then, usually tendencies and modes. So they are the translation. But better to use the same word guna, because there is no proper word for, there cannot be a proper word, because we don't have this concept in the Western philosophy or in Western religions. So the better to use the word guna itself. Prakriti Sambhava is what? Then what is this Prakriti Sambhava? Prakriti is Trigunatmika. These three gunas, they are the constituents of this Prakriti. Then how do you call them Prakriti Sambhavaha? For that, of course, Shankaracharya is silent on that, but then Madhusudana Saraswati has given an explanation. You see, Madhusudana Saraswati writes, Gunatrayatmakatvat Prakrutehe, Gunatrayatmakatvat Prakrutehe. We say that Prakriti is Gunatrayatmakam. This is constituted of this Gunatraya. Then Tarhi, in that case, Katham Prakriti Sambhavaha ityuchyante. Then how do you say that they are Prakriti Sambhavaha? You see, the mixture is having three things. Then how do you say it is Prakriti Sambhavaha? These are all born from this mixture. So you have put three things and prepared a mixture. Then how can you say that these three things are born from this Prakriti? So for that he gives an explanation. Trayanam gunanam samyavastha prakritihi maya bhagavataha. You see, these three gunas are supposed to be in a sort of samyavastha. This is again a very difficult word to understand. Samyavastha. Simply, usually people translate it as some sort of equilibrium. They are there in equal proportions or something like that. Equal proportions, suppose you mix this equal, say three things. You put some, say, bundi, one thing, and onion as something else, and then some other thing as something else. It is not like that. Samyavastha, samabhava. Sama again it refers to Brahman only. So Samyavastha, what exactly is this Samyavastha? Not many people, nobody has commented. But anyway, Samyavastha we can loosely understand that these three gunas are existing. These three gunas are existing without any manifestation. Without any manifestation. And when do they manifest? When there is some sort of disturbance in them, when one guna tries to dominate the other guna. See, this Prakriti guna, these three gunas, let us imagine all these three gunas in the same or stable condition. So there is some sort of Shobha, and that Shobha word also is used by Sankhya. Shobha means some sort of disturbance, and it is also accepted by Vedantins. So some change takes place. Some change takes place in them, and one guna tries to dominate the other. One guna tries to dominate the other. Then this manifestation starts. So that is what he writes. Trayanam gunanam samyavastha prakritihi maya bhagavataha tasyas sakashat paraspara angangi bhavena vaishamyena parinataha prakriti sambhavaha. So tasyas sakashat, from that thing, paraspara angangi bhavena. Angangi bhavena means that is one thing trying to become the dominant thing, and the other two things become say slightly unimportant. So this becomes the angi, and the other two things become angas. So angangi bhavena vaishamyena means opposing one another. Parinataha means transformed. So you see the word Prakriti Parinama. So Prakriti Sambhavaha actually means Prakriti Parinamaha. So this word say Prakriti Sambhavaha you can note down as Prakritehe Parinamaha. This is what Bellamkonda Ramarai Kavi says. Prakritehe Parinamaha. Madhusudana Saraswati says in a slightly different words, Vaishamyena Parinataha, the same thing. Parinataha means Parinamaha only. Ramaraya Kavi tells more clearly saying, Prakrutehe Parinamaha. So Prakriti Sambhava is a rather tricky word. Prakriti Sambhavaha. So let us come back to the shloka. Sattvam Rajastama iti gunaha Prakriti Sambhavaha. So these three things are Prakriti Parinamaha. That Prakriti Maya which is originally in that Samya Avastha, there is something happens in that, God knows what happens in that, and then there is this disturbance, and then say one guna tries to dominate the others. So that is how this Samya Avastha is disturbed, and then this universe is coming into existence. Then those things, Nibaddhananti Mahabaho, hey Mahabaho, this Mahabaho refers to Arjuna, oh man with mighty shoulders. Nibaddhananti Dehe means in the body-mind complex, Dehinam Avyayam. So on one hand, there is this fellow is a Avyaya. So you see, various paradoxical things we have to see here. So Avyayam Dehinam, Dehe Nibaddhananti, Avyayam Dehinam, Avikari. This Avyayam is Avikari, something which does not undergo any change. So these three gunas, they Nibaddhananti means they bind. Then do they really bind? They cannot really bind. If he is really Avyaya, if he is really Avikari, if he is really Aparinami, then how can these gunas they bind him? They really cannot bind him, but they look as though they bind. So Nibaddhananti iva. So that is why Shankaracharya says, so this thing, if you say that these gunas they bind him, then it is opposing what Vedanta says. It is opposing what Lord Krishna says. So we can't take a meaning which is opposite to what Lord Krishna is saying. So Nibaddhananti we have to give a slightly figurative meaning. Nibaddhananti iva. So that is why Shankaracharya, that is how what is the Bhashyam. So let us read the Bhashyam. Sattvam Rajastama iti ityevam namanaha
Sattvam Rajastama ityevam namanaha
Gunaha iti paribhashika shabdaha
Gunaha iti paribhashika shabdaha
Na rupadivat dravyashritaha.
Na rupadivat dravyashritaha.
So this we discussed in the last class. Guna Dravyashritam Gunaha, isn't it? Dravyashritaha. That is, I was giving the example of a red pen. So red pen means the redness is a guna. This pen is the dravya. So this guna is dependent on this dravya. The redness is dependent on the pen. So dravyashritaha gunaha. So it is not here, it is not like that. Here it is not as though this prakriti is having some characteristics. It is gunas do not mean characteristics here. Guna is a constituent. It is a tendency, a mode, whatever you want to call it. So these are gunaha iti paribhashika shabdaha. It is a paribhasha. Shastra paribhasha, it has come like that. Paribhasha is a Shastra terminology. Then shabda, paribhashika shabdaha, na rupadivat dravyashritaha. Rupa means a color. Rupa means color. Not like color of a substance which is dependent on a substance. Not like the color of an object which is dependent on the object. So that is the meaning. Na dravyashritaha. Then nacha gunaguniноho.
Please explain this one.
Which one?
This one, the first line.
Paribhashikaha. Guna iti paribhashika shabdaha na rupadivat dravyashritaha. You see this red pen. Red pen is, when I say red, that redness is dependent on this pen, isn't it? Without this pen, there is no redness.
Yeah.
So then the dravyashrita, that is why it is called dravya ashrita. Ashrita means ashrayam praptaha. Ashritaha is ashrayam praptaha. We know the word ashrayam. Ashrayam means shelter. Dravyashrita, taking shelter under a dravya. That is the meaning. Taking shelter of a dravya. Dravyashrita. So that is why guna is called a dravyashrita. It is dependent on a particular thing. So, but in the case of Prakriti, it is not like that. When we say that Prakriti is having three gunas, the three gunas are the constituents. They are the very self. They are the very self. They are the very nature of that Prakriti. So, yesterday also, as I was just mentioning, it is the very nature of the Prakriti. These gunas are the very nature of Prakriti. It is, then that is the reason why it is said it is not something like a guna, it is not something like a red flower or a red rose. So that is the prakriti, say dravyashrita, not dravyashrita. Then if you say dravyashrita, then you are referring to guna, guni, sambandha. So that is not the intention here. That is what is the next line saying. Nacha guna guninoho anyatvam atra vivakshitam. So guna guninoho anyatvam means there is a distinction. There is a difference between guna and guni. So this redness can be there on this pen. The redness can be there somewhere on that frame. The redness can be there on some shirt. And then this the pen can be black, pen can be white, pen can be anything. So guna guninoho anyatvam. So this guna and guni are two different things, isn't it? Though guna is dravyashraya, it can take shelter of any dravya, not only this pen. So similarly this dravya also it can take any guna. So these two things are totally different. So guna guninoho anyatvam na atra vivakshitam. Vivakshitam means it is not intended to be told here. Vivaksha, vaktum ichha is vivaksha. Vaktum ichha is vivaksha. That is the intention to say something. Na vivakshitam means it is not intended here. So that is the meaning. Atra na vivakshitam means it is not intended here. Then tasmad gunaiva nitya paratantraha kshetrajñam prati avidyatmakatvat kshetrajñam nibadhanantiva. Nibadhanantiva. Tam aspadikritya atmanam pratilabhanta iti. Pratilabhante iti. Nibadhananti ityuchyate. This also is a tough line which has to be broken into pieces. Tasmat, therefore, gunaha iva nitya paratantraha. So these things, say this gunaha, because the guna guninoho anyatvam na vivakshitam. So similarly, this sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, it cannot be separated from prakriti. They are not different from prakriti. They are the very self of prakriti. So gunaha iva nitya paratantraha kshetrajñam prati. So these are always dependent on this kshetrajña. So why he is saying avidyatmakatvat, then this satya etc. avidyatmakatvat, then it is not the kshetrajña who is avidyatmaka. It is the gunas which are avidyatmaka. So gunas, avidyatmaka means avidya is the very self of it. Maya is also called avidya. Prakriti is also called avidya. So when prakriti is called avidya, it's naturally its constituents are also avidya, isn't it? When Maya is avidya, the constituents are also avidya. So that is why avidyatmakatvat, because the gunas are of the nature of avidya, avidyatmakatvat means because the gunas are of the nature of avidya, then kshetrajñam nibadhananti iva. That is, they look as though they are binding this kshetrajñam. Why is it told? Why is it said that the nibadhananti iva? Because kshetrajña is something which cannot be bound. Kshetrajña is something which is of the nature of intelligence, of the nature of consciousness, which cannot be bound. But then, why is it told nibadhananti? Tam aspadikritya atmanam pratilabhante iti. Tam aspadikritya. Aspadam means a support. Tam aspadikritya means taking him as the support. Aspada means a support. Tam aspadikritya, taking him as the support. Atmanam pratilabhante. So they manifest themselves. So without this kshetrajña, they cannot manifest themselves. So that is the beauty of it. So sattva, raja, tama are there. But how are those sattva, rajas, tama known? Or how do they get manifest? Unless there is a kshetrajña. So this kshetrajña forms the basis, and then these three gunas, they derive their existence. Atmanam pratilabhante. You can note it as they derive their existence. They derive their existence, or they realize themselves. They realize themselves. because they need an adhisthana. Without an adhisthana, there cannot be an illusion. There is a need for a rajju in order to visualize the snake on that. So there is a need for an adhisthana even for a marumarichika. That is even for say in a desert, say Mrugatushna, you are seeing a mirage in a deserted place. So that also requires some substratum. So that is the point here. So Atmanam, tam aspadikrutya, tam kshetrajnam aspadikrutya, having taken that kshetrajna as the support, then Atmanam pratilabhante, that is they derive their existence, they manifest. In other words, in simple words, they manifest. Iti nibaddhananti tyuchyate. The very word nibaddhananti does not really mean that they are binding him. Nibaddhananti iva. So that is why they are guna iva nitya paratantraha. This because all these things are paratantraha. Why is it paratantra? Swatantra and paratantra are two things which we have seen. Anything which is jada is paratantra. Anything which is chetana is swatantra. Kshetrajna is chetana. And this thing, this gunaha, they are jada. Gunaha, they are jada. Prakriti is jada, isn't it? Prakriti is jada. And Prakriti's constituents, they are also jada. So that is why they are paratantraha, nitya paratantraha. This is another point. This is another point told by Bellamkonda Ramaraya Kavi. Bellamkonda Ramaraya says, this, there is some word which he says, avidya kurtatvat, okay, sattva, the very self, the karya karanatmakatvat. Yeah, he says, these are nitya paratantraha. Why? Because avidya is jada, and these gunas which are constituents of that avidya, they are also paratantras. Because karyasya karanatmakatvat, whatever is a karyam, it has the same properties as that of the karanam. Karyasya karanatmakatvat means whatever is the karyam, it has the same properties as that of the karanam. So that is the point. So have you understood the line?
Yes.
Guna iva nitya paratantraha, because they are jada. Because they are jada, they are paratantra, not swatantra. Swatantra and paratantra means independent. Paratantra means dependent. Kshetrajnam prati nitya paratantraha. Because this is it is the kshetrajna who is giving existence to them. Without kshetrajna, they don't exist. Then avidyatmakatvat means jadatvat, because they are jada. Then nibaddhananti iva, they manifest themselves in that kshetrajna. So that is the point. Without that kshetrajna, they cannot manifest. Nibaddhananti iva. Then techa prakriti sambhavaha bhagavan maya sambhavaha nibaddhananti iva. हे महाबाहो महान्तौ समर्थतरौ आजानुप्रलम्बौ बाहु यस्य स महाबाहुः हे महाबाहो देहे शरीरे देहिनं देहवन्तम् अव्ययम्. Okay, techa prakriti sambhavaha. Prakriti sambhavaha means Bhagavan Maya sambhavaha. Of course, Shankaracharya has not explained how they are prakriti sambhavaha, Bhagavan Maya sambhavaha. Of course, he has gone into very great details, but wherever Shankaracharya has left out, other people like Nilakantha or Madhusudana Saraswati, they have filled the gaps. So, Bhagavan Maya sambhavaha nibaddhananti iva. They look as though they are binding a person. Hey Mahabaho, Mahantau, Samarthataro, Mahantau, mighty, Samarthataro, very capable, Ajanu Pralambau, very long hands. In Samudrika Shastra, there is a science called Samudrika Shastram. Samudrika Shastram means which analyzes the human anatomy. And then basing on the anatomical features of a person, his characteristics are told. So if you see Ramayana in Sundarakanda, there is a passage where Lord Hanuman describes all the features of, not Sita, describes the features of Rama. When he goes to Sita, he describes all the features of Rama because he has to give a proper description. Those days there was no photograph, there was no fax, nothing. So this man had to explain all the features of that Lord Rama. So there you find what are all the characteristics of a Mahapurusha, a great person, a great personality like Rama. So such a person, what are an ideal man? Let us say an ideal man. So what are the features? So there, what is called that science is called Samudrika Shastra. So in olden days there was a lot of attention paid to this Samudrika Shastra. So here Ajanu Pralambau, that is Ajanu. Janu means knee. Ajanu means up to the knee. Pralambau, hanging on, right, so long. So that means long hands, probably they were considered to be, that was considered to be a very good, feature in the human anatomy. It was supposed to be a good feature. So, Pralambau, yasya sa mahabahu. We should not think of that as something like an orangutan or a chimpanzee. Chimpanzee, of course. So, anyway, sa mahabahu, he mahabahu, dehe, sharire, dehinam, dehavantam, avyayam. Avyayam. This is avyayam is paramarthataha avikari. So, in reality, in absolute sense, it is avikari. In absolute sense, it is something which is not changing at all. Avikarinam. Then, avyayatvam cha. Uktam anaditvadi shloke.
Uktam
Anaditvadi. Okay. There is an earlier shloka. Anaditva, nirgunatvat, paramatma, ayamatma, avyayaha, something like that. There was some shloka like that. Anaditvat, nirgunatvat, ayamatma. So this atma is avyaya. So he is referring to the shloka. This avyayatvam, it was earlier told in that particular shloka, starting with that anaditvat. Then there is a small question. Nanu dehi nalipyate ityuktam.
Nanu dehi nalipyate ityuktam.
Tat kathamiha nibadhananti iti anyatha uchyate.
Tat kathamiha nibadhananti iti
anyatha uchyate. Okay, the question is, dehi nalipyate. This dehi, the Kshetrajna who is there in this body-mind complex, na lipyate, he is not tainted, he is not colored by any of these any of these activities of these three gunas. So that is what was told. Then how is it that you are saying nibadhananti, etc., etc., tat katham, iha means here, nibadhananti iti anyatha uchyate. Anyatha means otherwise. You are saying it, you are telling something otherwise. Here in this particular context, you are saying something contrary to what you had told earlier. Nibadhananti iti anyatha uchyate. Then parihrutam asmabhihi. Iva shabdena nibadhananti iva iti.
Iva shabdena nibadhananti iva iti.
So this is the reply. Parihrutam asmabhihi. Asmabhihi, by us, it has been replied. Parihrutam means it has been properly explained. Parihara. Parihara means parishkara. That is a solution. Parihrutam means a solution has been offered, a solution has been given. How? Iva shabdena, nibadhananti iva. So we explained in accordance with what Lord Krishna has intended. It is not as though Shankaracharya has superimposed his ideas on this. It is not as though Shankaracharya has introduced this iva here. It is in accordance with what Lord Krishna has said, Shankaracharya has said, because otherwise it will go against what Krishna is saying. So on one hand he is saying avyayam na nibadhananti, on another hand he is saying nibadhananti. Then what has to be taken? What is the predominant meaning in that overall context? Predominant context meaning is that dehi or kshetrajna is something which is untouched, which is nalipyate. Nibadhananti, it means then something you have to take it as with a pinch of salt. You have to take it with a pinch of salt, means it has to be understood in a rather figurative sense. So that is why it is said iva. Then tatra sattvamiti. Is the time over?
Almost 1 minute.
1 minute. Then we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.